ready to be inspired? I can't hear you. All right. Before I invite the panelists up, I say talk up you, Misefi? What does that mean? Your voice is important. And I heard the amazing singers, but since I've been here, I haven't yet heard enough of you young people dreaming about how you can solve the problems in our country with your creative minds using science and technology. So I want to just invite 3 young people, 3 girls to just come up here. I want to ask you a question. And this will set the tone for where we're going when you meet our panelists who are changing the world, one little dot on the map at a time. Come here, my lady. Come here. All right. Let me ask you something. I am a social entrepreneur. What does that mean? I try to create programs and I execute projects across the island to fix a problem. But how can you as a girl use science and technology to fix a problem? So the problem is too many girls are being raped. If I'm right, say yes, you're right. If there's too much crime in our country, say yes, you're right. If our young men need some inspiration from us to get up and go to university and create jobs and businesses, say yes, you're right. If we can lead and make the world a better place using our creative and scientific, medical, social, innovative talents, say yes, I can. So let me ask you something. What's a major problem in the world, and what can you do with technology or science to make it better? Just dream big. Just be out of the box. Don't think how, just think of the solution. Let's go.
The major problem in the world is that too many women and children are being abused and they need our help. I think that we can use technology to improve that. We know what we can do to help everyone in this world to be a better person.
All right, we're on a start. We're on a start. She started the engine, identifying the problem. She sees that she has the possibility to change it. But now I ask you all, when you go home tonight and on your piece of paper, what kind of technological or scientific product or innovative product, I should say, think big, that can we use to help the women and the girls and the children? It's very simple in my mind. When you're creative, you think about this. What if there was an app that you could touch if you were in a situation? It would bring up 5,000 opportunities out of a database that somebody created for somebody to come and help you through that situation. What if you could press something and then all kinds of inspirational thoughts and ideas and whatever you call it could come to you in your house? What if there was a way to change the mind of our young men starting at early childhood institutions, so reprogramming their minds and the way we use science and technology to re-engineering their minds that they need to be better men. They need to protect the women and the children. I'm just saying, what product would you create?
I would create a learning product for everyone so that they can understand why it is important to protect our nation's children.
There you go. And let me tell you something. A lot of young people, a lot of young men and women don't understand why it's important to protect each other. Look how we treat each other. Look at us on the road. Look at the things we say to each other. Look how they just murdered that little young boy the other day. How old was he? 15 years old. There must be a solution, and it starts with changing the mind, and maybe technology can help. So clapper, 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 clapper. All right. You can't say the same problem, you know. All right, what's the problem?
For me, personally, I see that we're brainwashed by our color and the culture. So more teens now have bleached their skin to look like the persons who have enslaved us. So I would create a program on social media, meaning that everybody has the access to go on social media so that we can be more educated and know why we need to stay as how we are.
Well, there you go. And the digital world is a part of the technology world. And what she's saying is maybe we need to combat the negative messages and ideas that we see where you all live on social media using that digital platform. Okay, give me a problem.
Miss, A lot of persons starting creaming their hair.
Can you hear her? If you can't, you know what to say.
A lot of persons are creaming their hair and bleaching their skins. But God made us natural, so you should stay natural.
So how do you create a scientific or technological product to help people to not cream their hair and bleach their skin?
Miss, by telling other persons to stay natural and to be natural because God made us that.
All right. However we're going to tell them, we're going to use technology to tell them. Clap them. Thank you so much. It's so important for us adults here to understand how children think. Now, we are creating sanitary napkins when there's period poverty across the world, where girls are using banana leaf when they have their period because they're poor, maybe, and they can't provide, nobody's there to provide sanitary items for them. There are girls who have had some very embarrassing moments and some not too hygienic moments because of their period every month. So who's going to create that solution for that girl? And this is when I talk about careers and us owning the products and services to provide for our people first, this little dot, and then exporting globally. So as much as we can listen to the young people, we also have to introduce them to some of the entrepreneurs who are solving a problem. Or should I, the wind is it's breezy. Wow, I've never seen a fan so big. Things are happening at Mico. Have you ever seen a fan this big? Everybody say, there's a first time for everything. I stay seated, but I think I want to stand up because I see you better. Ladies and gentlemen, she is an OBGYN. Is there anybody that doesn't know what an OBGYN is? The acronym? Everybody say, I'm ready to learn. She is an entrepreneur and the creator of Woman's Touch, a whole heap of sanitary napkins to suit your flow and help end period. Oh, Miss Sown! Oh, Miss Sown! Put your hand up if you have a period. So 5 girls in here have had a period. We need to call the OBGYN to the stage. Something could be wrong, health-wise. I don't know why we're so afraid to talk about the P word, like positivity, like purpose, like period. Ladies and gentlemen, I ask her to join us. She'll tell her story in the panel discussion. Dr. Chrisanne Simpson-Harley, doctor, entrepreneur, and my OBGYN. Come on, make some noise. Encourage her. Excellent. Welcome to the stage, Dr. Simpson. I see we have some microphones. Please feel free to take yours up. I also invite now another doctor, Dr. Shara T. Watson. She's at the Scientific Research Council of Jamaica, Manager of Product Research and Development Division. She has been, oh my God, she's worked in the Institute of Medicanja, and that's interesting when we talk about science, development, technology, export. Ladies and gentlemen, Doctor of Philosophy, Chemistry. Put your hands together for Dr. Shara T. Watson. Was it Shara? Shara. You see how I'm going foreign one for you? Shara. Ladies and gentlemen, our next panelist, Miss Kalisa Ebanks, a recent Prime Minister Youth Awardee for Leadership in 2019. She is a professional mechanical engineer who specializes in building service and energy engineering. Put your hands together for her, please. Where is she? She coming? Okay. Where's Miss Kalisa? Kalisa, she's not here. Oh, I didn't get the memo. Everybody say, my bad. So we're going to move to our next panelist, Miss Diane Plummer, founder and CEO. I'm so excited to hear from her, of True Shade Cosmetics Limited. It's a Jamaican cosmetics company, young people. So girls, when it's time to dress up and wear your makeup, yeah, She is a Jamaican, so we don't have to buy the foreign products anymore, because we got you. Hello, ladies. All right, we're ready to learn, so I want to just start with you, Dr. Simpson-Harley. Can you just tell us why you created women's touch pads? And then you can also go into your background and how you got to where you are. How did you reach being a doctor? And tell them they don't know what an OBGYN is.
Okay, so OBGYN, for those who don't know, so I am a doctor that specializes in female health. So I take care of you young ladies and women of all ages, so that is my specialty. I actually always knew that I wanted to be a doctor from the age of probably 6. I had to do surgery, and from that time, I loved it. But when I was about 13, when, I had my first period, I had very, 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 very bad pain with my periods. And I was diagnosed a few years later with something called endometriosis, which causes very painful periods. And that started my journey into wanting to just create, just something better for other women that were struggling like me. I actually wanted to try and find a cure for endometriosis. I wanted to go into research at some point, and initially that never materialized. And then when I started to work and see patients, I realized that there are other problems, that women were having, and particularly with the sanitary napkins that were available on the market. So I was having the same issue in terms of the irritation and the stress, and it was just, a lot of them just didn't work for me, and I was having the same complaints from my patients. And I said, well, me I want woman, and me I want gynecologist, so I must can fix it. And I mean, that's how I think. I don't just look at the problem. I said, if there's a problem, there has to be a solution, right? So, I mean, it took me probably about a year or so, and I mean, I tore every sanitary napkin I knew. I tore them apart. I went into the science of it and all of that, and then that's how I created my product.
Well, wow. Wow. Yeah. There's so many brands, sanitary brands on the market. Right. And how do you, as a business now, how are you competing with all of the others that are on the market? And all of these we import. Right. And we're not exporting as much as we're importing. So how are you competing as a business player?
So anything that you're going to do in life, you try to be the best at whatever it is that you're going to do. So if it is that I'm going to create something, it has to be the best version of, if something already exists and I'm creating something, it must be a much better version, right? I mean, as I said, I am a woman, I am a Jamaican. I mean, we're head big and we're bright. So, we must can come up with something good. But what I realize is that a lot of the products that were made for us as women weren't made by women. Right? So even though, it is said the initial designer was actually a black woman, for pads, I mean, further, in history, what we found is that a lot of people were using inferior materials, not taking into consideration our health. What they're taking into consideration is the bottom line. They're taking into consideration how much money they can make off the fact that we have to use a product like that either on a daily basis or on a monthly basis. It's a need. So, a lot of these companies, as I said, they use inferior materials. So when I went back to the drawing board, I decided, just like how, when you wear your clothes, do you walk up and down in plastic? So then why should I use a sanitary napkin that is plastic coated or made from an inferior material? They'll say cotton-like or mesh or foam. What is that? I mean, when you have 100% natural cotton, why aren't we offering women natural cotton products, to use on a very sensitive area and around a very delicate time, right? So, I mean, that's why I said, no, man, we have to go back to the drawing board. And that's how I created the product, 100% cotton.
Wow. Wow. How many of you never thought of creating a pad or a sanitary item for women? How many of you never thought you could do that? There you go. Well, yes, you can. I'm going to move now, thank you, Doc, to, oh my goodness, the creator, another entrepreneur of True Shade Cosmetics. What does it take to create cosmetic products? I mean, what kind of scientist are you to concoct all these things and share with us the journey of reaching here? This is Diane Plummer.
Morning, everyone. All right, so as she stated, the brand is called Your True Shade. And how did I really get started? So my background is in chemical engineering. So what that means is that I use science and math to solve problems, right? So I was actually studying in Sweden, and that's in Northern Europe. And when I looked around, there were very few persons that looked like me. It actually took me 3 weeks for me to see another black person. Right? So you can imagine that if I go into any of the stores, I would not be able to find products that would be suitable for my skin. Can you imagine if I take up one of those foundations that I saw over there? I would look like a dopey, right? So what I decided to do was to use my background in chemistry and chemical engineering to start making products for myself. So I was a student, making products in my dorm room, mixing up my powders and my creams and using it for myself. And there are a few black girls on campus that I would give stuff to. And then I realized, this could actually be a viable business, and especially because the products, they were suitable for my sensitive skin and eczema as well. So when I graduated university, I decided to come back home and to start the line, because I figured that there are a lot of persons here in Jamaica that actually do have sensitive skin and eczema and also have difficulty finding makeup that can actually match their skin. And I also realized that the problem still existed in Europe as well. So I was also able to go back and have a show and have places over there now that are carrying the products for the persons who have the same problems like what I did while I was a student there.
Wow. It's interesting. So many of us wear makeup and wonder, or never stop and wonder, how do you make this? How can I join the business? So your products are overseas. Are they here in Jamaica?
Yes, they're in selective locations here, like in Fontana, Discount Beauty. We also have an e-commerce website that persons can buy and pick up at Southdale Plaza at Descale Collections.
So how did what you study inform you about making the product?
All right. So what engineers do is that we love to solve problems. So when we see a problem, we just look at it and say, okay, what are the steps that I can now use to solve this problem? What is the background that I need? And my background is in chemical engineering, so using science, all the things that you would have learned in your chemistry class, right? To find out what are the different chemicals that can react to the skin, what are the different natural minerals that I can use and blend, and it's a lot of trial and error to actually get the different shades and get the different products and so on.
I'm really interested. What goes into a foundation? Like, I'm wearing foundation on my face and I have no idea what it's made up of. Can some of you engineering students and chemists help me out? What goes in it?
Well,
what's on my face?
And that is true, because that's one of the things that really inspired me to start, because when I look at the back of the labels for a lot of these products, they have a lot of harmful chemicals in there. And I wanted to take a more natural approach, using things like my shea butter, my natural grounded minerals and essential oils, things that would be really healthy for the skin.
Wow. How many of you just learned something? Good. Oh, I feel so good. When the young people say, I learned something just now, this is a good day. Everybody say it's a good day. It's a good day. Shara, Miss Watson, take us through your journey. Firstly, how long did it take you to get your PhD?
It took 5 years.
Right.
Yes.
Everybody say, what?
Well,
Let's go from high school to there.
so...
The journey.
Good morning, everyone. Is it still morning? Yeah. Yes, it's still morning. All right. Good morning, everyone. I'm very happy to be here with you and to be given this opportunity to share a little bit of my story. So I went to Excelsior High School, right on Mountain View. Most of you know it. So I like to start off from where I began. And I always tell people, I'm very proud of the fact my daddy's a Rasta man. And because of that, I've always been very close to natural and always been connected to nature and wanting to know how I can work with nature. So I was always fascinated with trees, and how they grow and those kind of things. So I did chemistry. So I did a degree in food and pure chemistry. When I finished that degree program, I went on to do my PhD. Reason being, while I was doing the degree program, I had the opportunity to work at Ray and Nephew for a summer. Oh God, I love rum. It was amazing there. But while being there, being in the lab as an analyst, I realized that I wasn't challenged enough and I wanted more. So I decided, all right, I'm gonna see how far I can take this thing. So I enrolled to do a PhD. And I did that in natural products chemistry. Duh, my daddy's a Rasta man. We need to know where he give me all these years. He make the best roots, by the way. Anybody drink roots? Yes? Yeah. So my daddy made the best roots. So I wanted to add value to what he was doing and to understand on a deeper level. So while doing my PhD program, like Sade, I had some amount of moderate successes while doing that program. However, while I was being given all these awards and stuff like that, I was struggling in silence. Being on a stage, being in front of people, I would literally cower in fear because I was so conscious. I had the worst kind of dandruff you can imagine. Black jacket on me, you will never see me in that because why? You see pair flakes on it. So while I'm studying about natural products, studying about essential oils, learning so much about them, and still struggling with this problem, I was like, no, man, I can put my knowledge to use and try something to help myself. Similar to the other ladies on the panel here. We all had a personal issue that we were dealing with and decided to find solution using the knowledge that we had. So I started working on a formulation using essential oils and finding out how wonderful these essential oils and their medicinal properties. And I started working. And when I tell you when I had the breakthrough, I didn't realize. It was while sitting in the salon chair, the hairdresser said, "What happened to your scalp? How come it no flake up no more?" I'm like, "What you talk, say?" And she said, what have you been using? And that's how I realized that finally, I finally mixed up something that worked. Luckily for me, I'm a scientist, so I follow the scientific process, and anything I mix in, I document it down to the T. If I change anything, I write it down. So when that formulation finally worked, and I now had nice, clean scalp, you can't see because I'm wearing the corporate wig today, and I have nice, clean scalp, I was able to track back and find out exactly what the blend was that worked. And because of her again, and she saying how well it worked, she encouraged me to prepare formulations for other persons. And that's how I started Kiara Cosmetics. We specialize in all natural products for your hair, skin, and your nails.
And your hair and skin look so good. Give her a round of applause. What an inspiration. So I hope you're writing down the lesson. Take your personal story and change other people's lives by creating something, right, for you and them, and document it. Because we don't have time to go into our history, but we didn't document a lot of things. That's why people could steal it from us. And we now need to enter the global market. And I'm going to ask you all a very serious question about being a woman in science and technology and an entrepreneur. You've developed products. You've patented your products. But the reality, which is where I want to have this discussion with our young people, when we create these products, what is the next step and how hard is it? Each of you, how do you get it to market, and how do we plan now for export challenges and opportunities?
All right, so since I was the last, I'll go first now.
And I'm going to tell you, I'm also wearing my corporate wig today. So, black girls, wear your natty as your corporate wig if you want to. We have choices. I just have to come in there, Cheryl. And we're trying to see your non-dandruff here next
All
time.
right, I definitely will pop it up.
Yes, go ahead.
So for me, again, my background helped a lot in steering my business decisions. So one of the first things that I did was to visit JIPO, which is the Jamaica Intellectual Property Office, to one, see whether or not I could protect my formulations in the form of having patents, and two, to also trademark my brand. Because one of the things you need to realize is that it's not just a product, but what it goes into, how persons will interact with that product before they even touch it, feel it, and smell it. So branding was absolutely critical to me. So I protected the brand, started the process of looking how I could protect my formulations, did my initial market testing with different persons utilizing the products. Then I went to company's office to register the business, and from there on started working slowly but surely in getting the products in different commercial or retail spaces to be able to have the products available on a wider market. So now we're in 5 stores. We're also available online. We are on social media. You can find us at kiharacosmetics.com, and that is spelled Kihara. There are over 500 persons in this room, so by the time I leave here today, I should have many more followers, right? So that was
she
my
said,
journey.
right? Young girls, it's very important that we support each other. Can we get an all right?
All right.
All right, let me just add up the math for you real quick. How many young people are on social media here today? Put up your hands. Look at that. Let me see your hands. So, by the end of today, you will all be following these amazing Jamaican women. Am I right? You know, let me just ask another question. We can't solve the world, and I'm going to acknowledge our Prime Minister's Youth Awardee for 2019 leadership, who has just arrived. No. She's so sorry. Why? It's okay. We'll soon come. I'll soon bring you in. This is a question I want to ask. If you had a choice to purchase a Jamaican product over a Chinese entrepreneur, a European entrepreneur, who would you choose? Who would you choose? How can we build our economy if we're not buying from ourselves first? And this is a thought I want you to go home with, right? Everybody say, buy Jamaica first. Buy Jamaica first. That's exactly right. Okay, so I was going to hear from you, but let me just finish this train of thought. Chrisanne, Simpson-Harley, let me get it right. You continue on that path. How do you take your product, your idea to market?
Okay, so as my colleague here said, branding is extremely important. Even though I had worked on a product, it took me also a significant time to also work on the packaging as well, because I needed my package. I didn't want someone to say, oh, you know, people have a way to say, oh, it look local. And looking local is all of a sudden a bad thing. Now, when they look at my products, they say, wow, it look international. Well, my international is local. Because a local woman can produce something of the highest quality. So that was one of my, main things to make sure that when I created my package, it stood out. And then it's not just creating a sanitary napkin, but there had to be something different about it, not just in its makeup. So that's how we created like the multi-pack. So there is nothing like it on the market. So as my colleague said, you have to step out of the box and do it differently and do it well as well. So when it goes into the international sphere, it stands out as well. I do find a challenge locally that, there is the preference to bring in international brands over local brands into stores. So even though we're in many stores island-wide, there's only one supermarket chain that we're not in as yet, and that's the only one. But even so, it's the whole idea, I was asked by, unfortunately, a gentleman who said, why we need another pack of pad on our shelf. And it goes to show where our mentality is still at. It's not like, oh my God, you're a local brand. We're going to see how we can stock your product. It's still that uphill battle to have, customers, meaning business customers, take the product. So it's fighting with the marketing and so on. You just have to every day put in the work. There's something that we learn in primary school. Why they say how great men were climbing upward through the night while others slept. I mean, listen, you cannot, go to your bed at 9 o'clock and 8 o'clock every evening and expect to achieve greatness. There is the 2 o'clock in the morning work and the 3 o'clock in the morning work, and you have to fight and you have to struggle. And if it is that you want an easy breezy life, then it's going to be a life without reward. You have to actually put in the work and put in the time. And when your parents are saying, study a book, you are not competing. And that's what I realized. You are not competing with others in Jamaica. You are competing with the world. Right? So when you go there for a job, you are competing with the Chinese coming in and the Italians coming in and the Europeans coming in. And when you want to have a product, you're competing now on a global market. What you do, you have to do it and do it well. And you have to set that foundation from now.
Woo! Do it well. You're not competing locally, you're competing globally. And I will tell you, ladies, her multi-pack is also at the back. All of our panelists, or I think most of you have products here today. And the multi-pack has your overnight pads. It has your regular pads. It has your panty liners. And did you hear what she said? You can't really go into the supermarket and find that one big box. Yeah. That has everything that lasts you for about 5 months. So make sure you support our local entrepreneurs. Okay, let's go into True Shade Cosmetics, and how hard is it to compete globally? How do you take it from the idea to the product to market and stay alive?
Okay, so as you guys would probably know, makeup is a very, very competitive space. There are so many different brands. If you go on Instagram today, you see another brand popping up. And as both of my colleagues would have mentioned, branding is very, very important. Because one of the things that persons would normally say is that this make out here when they actually look at the branding and the packaging. Getting it into the local market has been a challenge, to be honest with you. And even though we are differentiating ourselves by saying we have shades for black women, suitable for sensitive skin and eczema, it's very difficult to get the buy-in of the local public with it. However, what I realize is that, okay, if Jamaica is not my market, then where did I study again? I studied in Europe. There are a lot of persons over there who had the same challenges that I had. That's why I started, because I had a problem. So what I started to do was to look elsewhere, to be honest. So even though we have our products at one of the largest online beauty supply store in the US called Curl Bible, and they're stocking our products. And we recently got another order from them because the stuff are just flying off the shelf. So it's about understanding your market and not to be afraid to say, okay, this is not my market, and then to look elsewhere. Because at the end of the day, you made a product that is innovative, that can solve problems. Maybe the persons here, it may not be solving their direct problem because there are so many options. So now I have to look at, okay, where is it that people don't have this kind of option? And that's what I was able to do. Yeah.
What a lesson. Find your market and go. It is a global world now. There are no barriers with the access to technology. And you know what? Go to Australia, because when I was in Australia, I could not find any black girl magic makeup. I wish you were around then when I was living there. So there are many more places where you can help black girls ladies of color, I should say, to find their shade. Wow, thank you for that informative response to how to take your product to market. Now, joining us, I mentioned her earlier, and I want to just say Miss Kalicia Ebanks has joined us. Congratulations, she just won a Prime Minister's Award for Leadership. So let's clap her, clap her. You're a professional mechanical engineer. How that? How many of you want to know how that? You see, I speak on behalf of the youth. They all want to know, what is that? What do you do?
Okay, so I am a professional.
Hold on.
Okay, so basically what that means is that I am certified to work in the mechanical engineering industry in Jamaica. Now, specifically, I work in the building services, engineering and sustainable energy development field. And what I do from day to day is to design energy efficient air conditioning, heating, and ventilation systems for all types of buildings, specifically commercial buildings. Now, just to give you an idea of what building services is, you know how you have your body, right? And you need the heart in the body to pump blood around the body to your lungs and your brain and your everything so that the body can function. Well, that's what building services is. Building services provides the different mechanical services throughout the building, electrical, anything that includes electrical, plumbing, and a moving part like a motor or a pump. That's what building services is. We provide the moving parts, the heart, and the organs to the building. So without building services engineering, a building is basically a shell. So for example, here you have some fans that, I was trying to see the brand. I think it's a big ass fan.
No,
that's actually a brand.
when we came in, we said, the biggest fan we ever seen in my life.
Actually, I think those are called big ass fans. That's
really?
the brand.
True?
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Yes. So for example, you see these two very big fans. They are basically the lungs of the building because they are pumping air throughout the building so that we can be comfortable, so that we can breathe, so we don't faint and, all those things. So that's what I do. I ensure that a building is safe and comfortable for not only humans, but the equipment that is inside. And if I might say so myself, I ensure that whatever system I design is as energy efficient as possible.
Wow,
That's awesome.
anybody want to join that field? Yeah?
Yay!
Come on, let me see. All right, let me find out. Who wants to create a new makeup line? Let me see you.
Yeah,
All
man.
right.
Yeah, man.
Who wants to create the new sanitary item for young girls? Women. All right. Who wants to create the heart of buildings that pumps and, yeah. And who wants to create the next new beauty essential oils and health products? Watch here. Listen, you have an opportunity to meet these women. Ladies, let me go into the plan. So you have teenagers here who may want to enter your field. Can you suggest the subjects they should be taking if they can or cannot afford tertiary education? How do they get to that level to have the qualification maybe needed to work in this field or to be an entrepreneur in this field?
Okay, so for my field, you need to be involved in the sciences. So you need to do not only your physics and your chemistry, but you need to be involved in mathematics and, of course, the literatures and the Englishes. Those are very important. I am not only an engineer, I'm a performing artist. I love the stage, so I'm kind of a hybrid. So if you want to be in my field, you have to be involved in the sciences, and a little art. A little art won't hurt. It will develop you as a human being. No, I believe that lack of funds is no excuse not to get a full education, because Where I am coming from, children, ladies and gentlemen, if I can come from there, and I'm going to get emotional, if I can come from there, I grew up in very rural St. Elizabeth. Some people in here don't know about latrine toilet. But let me tell you, I came from extremely humble beginnings. And it was the hard work and prayer and support of my family why I'm here today. Now, if you want to pursue tertiary education, you cannot afford it. There are many opportunities out there, grants. First thing I would recommend that you do is go and speak to your guidance counselor. If you have a favorite teacher, go and speak to them. Miss, sir, how do you think I can go about attaining a tertiary education? There's the Student Loan Bureau. There are always scholarships popping up out there, right? So there's no excuse. Go and search out your student loan. I pay my student loan every month, and I am quite happy and comfortable. It's the happiest payment I make every month because it was one of the best investments. No, thank you.
I hear somebody wants to clap.
One last thing.
Yeah.
I recommend that you all try to get as involved in school as possible because it is the extracurricular activities. Yes. It is the extracurricular activities that you are involved in that will mold you into somebody that Mr. Burger King, Mr. Student Loan Bureau, Mr. Huey, Miss Huey would give a scholarship to because they don't want to only know that you are bright. They want to know that you are involved, that you will contribute to the society in many other ways. I am what you would call nuff, because when I was in high school, I was in everything. I participated in the theater club, which was my favorite. I did a little sports. I did academic clubs. So when I went to UE, that transferred, and then after I finished my first degree, I got a Chevening scholarship to do my master's in the UK. And it was not just my grades, it was my participation.
Whoa! Wait! She answered for everybody. I don't know if anybody can add to that. But let me tell you something. What's the other P word? I tell you, P word. The P words are my favorite. What's that big P word she just used? Par what? It's not just about the classroom. It's about getting out there, having conversations, being involved, participating in clubs, not just academic clubs, but other social clubs as well. Wow, you answered the question. I'm going to stay with you, Mr. Banks, and ask you, with 18% to 20% of engineering students now being women, how important is this for development? How is this changing our world? Do women do it any better than men? I don't know. I have to ask.
I think women do everything. I'm kidding. I think that women are amazing. And I think, as with everything that we are involved in, whoops.
Every time you talk, there's a big disruption and noise in the building. It's like she said she's a heart. So she's just pumping some stuff in this building. Yes, my lady.
Things just break around me. I don't know. Yeah, okay. So, yes, as I was saying, women are amazing, and intrinsically, we add something special to whatever it is that we do. Women, why I say women are better engineers, I'm sorry, guys. Women pay very close attention to details. Yeah. And I think that's part of the reason why I'm late today. I was trying to ensure that something was going as to plan. But women pay very close attention to details, and it is part of the reason why women are so successful in engineering. I've lectured at the University of the West Indies, and I must say that 18% is going to be increasing because majority of that class were females, and they are doing so well. I encourage all the females who are interested in engineering, do not be afraid. Okay, yes, it is a male-dominated sphere right now, but you can be a girly girl, a womanly woman in engineering. As you can see, I still have on my nails, even though some broke off. Because yes, it's a very hands-on industry. But if it is something that you love, you will enjoy it and it will never feel like work.
Wow. Ladies, anybody want to add to that before I move on to the next question, which is looking at women in the field of science globally, especially those who've been awarded?
Okay, so I actually lecture in engineering at UTech, and I must say that I'm seeing more and more girls in the classroom, and the girls are actually performing quite well, to be honest with you. And these are, if you see the girls on campus, you can't distinguish and say, oh, that girl is in engineering. Because, I mean, as she said, we don't need to, not be feminine. The feminine energy is so powerful. We can still reclaim our feminine energy and still be good at engineering.
Well, there you go. There you go. I'm going to ask another question, then as I do in my Empress Talk Up Youth style, I'm going to ask a couple of girls to come up and ask you all a question. Is that okay? All right, so this question now, outstanding recognition in the field of science globally, women still have a long way to go. Am I right? Let's look at the ratio of female to male in international awards, notably the Nobel Prizes. 2 women to 207 men for physics. Wow. Let's look at chemistry. 4 women to 178 men. Let's look at physiology, medicine. 12 women to 214 men. 1 woman to 79 for economics or economic sciences. This is up to 2017. Now, why is that? And when we're looking at order in society, and I'm going to throw out a very big conversation. We have a lot of teenage pregnancy. Girls are getting pregnant. The men are leaving. They got to look after the home. Yet some of them are able to go to university. We're looking at the ratio of female to men in the University of West Indies, and the females are, 80 to 20? I don't know what it is here at the Mico, the greatest and oldest institution. But I'm saying, what is it, why is it, and where do we need to go in the sciences for international recognition and success? It's a very loaded statement, stats, and question, but I'm sure you can take apart and dissect that for me.
Or reasons could be playing a role in why the glory per se is not necessarily seen. We are comfortable or okay being in the background. We're not necessarily looking for the recognition per se or the glory, as I would call it. So you find, even at the Scientific Research Council, it's 70% women and 30% men. So, and if you look at the universities, it's mainly women. But when you see the elevation to the ultimate, you're not seeing the women there. And it could be because of how we are innately. We're okay getting the work done and not necessarily standing out in our light.
What you're saying is we make it happen, we're okay to give them the shine.
We're all right for that. But we need to change it. It needs to change. So we should be able to stand out in our glory and shine just as bright as any star out there because we deserve it. And through that, we can inspire and encourage other women. So if we don't take that spot in the spotlight, then chances are we won't all reach to our full potential. We might miss that opportunity to inspire someone else. So I think it's a real issue that we can address. And we are already there in the fields. We're already making those strides. We're already having the impact. We just need to stand up and say, yo, I'm there. Yeah.
What we're going to say, yo, we're what?
There.
All right.
Yeah, what I think also is a major challenge among girls and women is that, it's just fairly recently, that, everybody is giving, a girl the push to say, not just you can do it, but talk about it, show how great you are and talk about how great you are. It was always about, and I think there was always this element that self-doubt would be put in us as girls, and we'd be somewhat, kind of suppressed, like you really should be humble. And there's nothing wrong with humility and modesty. You can be all of those things and still say, me do this, and I can do this, and I can do this better than, someone else of a different gender, right? So, it's okay to have that belief in yourself, and I find that, no matter how smart, I see some women are so brilliant, but that self-doubt is still so pervasive, which for me is quite baffling. And then, what I find with men, even if them not get it right, me do this, right? I me this, right? Even when it is like, 80% right, and the 20% still missing. No, and we can have it 100% done, and yet still we don't talk about it. It's like it's not okay. But I want our girls to know that it's okay. I used to play football for UA, and when my colleagues say get involved, it actually helped me to get a partial scholarship while doing medicine at UA. I played football for University of the West Indies. Yeah, these great legs, girl.
And I think this is why.
So, these are the things that are, things that, and my coach will tell you, even if he thinks that I wasn't the greatest player in life, I was putting my 100%, and it was my team, and even if I can't score a goal, if my team a lose and I can't help lick down somebody, may I try, and may I push, you understand? And then I'm going to say it's my team, you understand? There has to be, that thing in you that say, I can do this. And God has placed that in us. So do not suppress that about yourself. If you are good at something, go for it. Talk about it. Let people know, because how else are you going to be recognized?
Wow, again,
If I might
ladies.
add one thing.
Yes.
And I must applaud the Scientific Research Council, because events like these that bring women like us in front of girls like you to show you that the different possibilities, cosmetics, sanitation, straight up engineering, whatever it is, there are science and engineering and all of those things are involved in every sphere of life. Right. So get involved and do not be afraid. Yes. Girls, do not be afraid. You are important and you are valuable and brilliant and beautiful. Yeah. Do not be afraid. Yeah.
Thank you. Wow, don't be afraid. Confidence, my new letter, C. Confidence. I moved from the P and I gone back to the C. All right, let's hear now, Lady Plummer, not your final, because I'm going to ask 3 young ladies to come and ask the final questions as it relates to closing this off and what we need to do to stand, maybe, I don't always like to say equal, but to stand in our own glory. When we're looking at our international recognition, what else do we need to do? I think the ladies covered most of it. Anything else you can add?
Definitely. What I would like to charge you young ladies with is not to feel as if there are traditional roles as a young girl or as a woman that you need to fall back into, right? Not because you see women behave in a certain way out there in society doesn't mean that this is what I should be. What is the future? What is the future? What can you add to the future? Not because you say that it's only men or the boys in the class that are really good at math, doesn't mean that you can't also be good at math. It doesn't mean that you can't also be good at science. Because as my colleague right here would have said, science and engineering and technology has come across every single thing that you see in here. From the gel that you use to make your baby hair, to the weave that we're having, the machine that make it, the nails, the acrylic, all of this, it's science. It's science. And if you love being beautiful and you love science, you can just fall into any one of these professions. So just don't feel as if, there are traditional roles that you have to play, right? But you can use science and technology to just enhance your well-being and to just be a better person out there.
Yeah,
Thank
Empress,
you.
sorry. Just
Yes.
so and one of the things that, you know, and I'll be quick. One of the things that, you know, a lot of them are, you know, girls or women are told, you know, you get to a certain stage and, you know, there's the pressure of starting a family and all of these things. It's not something that is mutually exclusive because, you know, I am a doctor, I am an entrepreneur and all of this, but I am a wife, I am a mother, I am involved in my church, I'm doing so many other things, and I still get my sleep at night time. You understand? So these are things that you can do. You do not have to limit yourself because you think, okay, at a certain age, I'm going to have to, you know, have children and this and that. And because if I'm too successful, I won't get a husband. Foolishness. And it's something that is embedded in girls, like you're too bright, like not say certain things, right? I'm not gonna like you, things like that. You know, conversations like that really need to be put out the door, right? I mean, God will always provide a suitable adjunct. When you're bright, He will provide an adjunct for you when the time is right. It's as simple as that.
I love that. I love that. Then can't stop singing, brown skin girl, stay home and mind the baby. Well, I go out and work, yeah? And we can do all of that. I'm with you, I'll testify. I'm with you. I am with you. But if you want to just stay home and mind the baby and cook, there's nothing wrong with that. We just got to be clear, ladies. Because I'm thinking about that too. While I'm juggling career, entrepreneurship, social development. Yeah, man. Sometimes you want to stay home, but make sure the man provide. Did I say that? Yeah. You know, I like to talk truth to my ladies. Any young lady like to come up and ask a question? Come on. Come on up. The floor is yours. This is how we're going to wrap it up because I know you've had a long session and you're better than me because I can't sit down for more than 10 minutes without flinching. You know? So come around this way, ladies. I'm going to hand over my microphone and you can ask any one of our panelists a question. Make sure you look at the audience over here as well. Yeah, so we don't block them. Okay, just say your name and then ask a question.
My name is Crystal Dixon, and my question is for all of you ladies. Whenever you're working and you just finish and you publish your work and you post it on social media, does anyone criticize your work?
Yes. Yes. So she's asking, you know, when you do what you do and you publish it on social media, if anybody criticizes your work. So you're never going to be able to please everybody. And that's the reality, right? I mean, what you do is try to do the best that you can, and ultimately that in itself will pay off. But yes, you get the criticism. I tell somebody, you know, sometimes, you know, when I see the criticism, it's like somebody tell me, say my baby ugly. Right? Because that's how you feel. You feel like, because this is your creation. Right? Yeah. This is your creation. It's like somebody tell you, say, you know, look good. You know, but I mean, criticism is something that you're going to face, and you just have to swallow and keep moving. Just look straight ahead and focus on your vision.
My name is Zinyu Rose. Have you ever thought about tampons that keeps less pain, that cause less pain?
Actually, yes. Yes. That is, and actually that's quite brilliant coming from your age. So that's, you know, really brilliant. She asked if we've considered having tampons that causes less pain. So yes, it's.
Have you ever thought about making some face cream that takes care of bumps, not acne bumps, but different bumps?
Yes, and actually we have, because like we said, the issues that we're trying to find solutions for are issues that face our population. And a lot of us have eczema, a lot of us have psoriasis and different conditions. So yes, I'm actually working on several face care products to address some of these common issues that affects people in our kind of environment and who look like we.
Good morning, my name is Ashia Paisley. Good morning, my name is Ashia Paisley. And
So much button she have? Right.
what kind of chemicals do you use in the lip gloss and setting powder?
Whoa. All right. So in our lip gloss, I wanted to use something that was very natural. So I use vitamin E oil because it's very moisturizing for the skin and it's nourishing. And in our setting powder, one of the ingredients that we use is a clay. It's called kaolin clay. And what it helps with is absorption of oil on the skin. So when you put on your makeup, you don't become too oily. And it just sits and melts right in the skin.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Wow, beautiful young ladies from St. Patrick Primary. We have 4 more questions before we close this segment. Come forward, ladies, and ask your question.
Good afternoon. This question is directed to Dr. Chrisanne Simpson-Harley. Yes. Sorry. All right. Seeing that society does not openly accept the natural menstrual cycle and you're a producer of sanitary napkins.
Hold on, start again. The society doesn't accept it?
Mainly the male part, the male population. It is not openly
discussed.
Yeah.
It's a quiet, okay. All right, I can understand. Them not understand, but it's okay.
No, actually, so when I came on a radio program, I was told that I could not say pads. Oh, yes. I couldn't say pads. I
That wasn't my
say,
show.
No, of course not, girl. I couldn't say pads. I was limited to say sanitary napkins, which we know in our Jamaican parlance. You say sanitary napkins, somebody gonna say, we're gonna use that with knife and fork. And so it's not everybody knows what it is that you're talking about when you spell it out. And I could not say bleeding, talk about like vagina, period. I had to be very subtle about what I spoke about. And I was just like, in 2019, it was 2019 at the time. I said, in 2019, we're still having an issue with speaking frankly and openly about girls having their period and what it means.
Dr. Simpson, I'm going to allow her to ask a question. However, that's a big conversation for another day. Yes. Because even when you think culturally, and we have to address these things, because we're bombarded with so much vagina and penis and sex and porn and Instagram and everybody naked up on TV, a wind up, a dance, and people like them like they're the number one thing on Instagram. We have problems with sex and the body, and we need to have the conversation. But there are cultures where there's a girl talk, where I think mothers should talk about vagina and period, and maybe the boys are uncomfortable, and that's okay. I don't need to tell my son, well, he knows the words, vagina, period, he's 7. And if I don't tell him, somebody else will. But we'll get to that conversation at the next session, whatever that session's called. So let's...
finish what you're saying.
Okay, the question is, what motivated you to stand up and talk about our natural cycle, and how did you respond to the negative comments, mainly from males?
It was my own experience, and as I said, because of my own experience growing up, I wanted to have other women know that you're not alone. And I was not, I've never been what you'd call a shrinking flower, mama big. Right, means a tin mackerel and green banana kind of girl. So I'm just going to talk it as it is. And my role is to get as much information to people as possible, especially as a doctor. So I was just not going to shut up about it. So even with criticism, I'm going to talk about something that will improve somebody's health and well-being. So I talk about it, and I decided to make changes if changes are necessary.
And what tips do you give to young ladies when talking about this topic and they're discriminated for the natural cycle?
I would just suggest get as much information as you can, right? I mean, especially our young ladies, if it is that, you're at the age where you're going to start, menstruating senior period, you need to have that conversation with your guardian and your parent to say, ask them what really you should know, and, even ask to go to a doctor and, get a checkup and have the doctor speak with you to see if there's more that you can know. So you want to get that information out there to your friends as well.
Okay, thank you.
There you go. She looks like she'll be designing the next sanitary item when you and I retire. Yes, my lady.
Good day. Just two questions. One general question, what would you advise to be the first business step to create a career that is just completely out of the norm? A career? Yeah.
Do what all right, if there's something that you love, do it. So yes, you have to have a passion for it. So you don't need to follow the norms, I need to be a doctor, lawyer, Indian chief. If there's something that you love, you can see how it is that you can go about, working on it as a career, right? So a lot of people use YouTube for foolishness. They go on YouTube and they go on and they watch this and watch that, and they don't use it for informational purposes.
You mean the new university that's free?
Thank you. No, it sounds weird, but I mean, you can actually learn so much. There are so many YouTube platforms that you can go on and learn and start to document. So if there are ideas that you have from now, I don't care how young you are, document it, start writing it down, find somebody who you can trust, and help and go to them and say, can you direct me to somebody who can give me more information about this, right?
Can I add? Look up Simon Sinek. That's an excellent question, because we should not just think of ourselves, but think about the impact that we're making in the world and how we can assist those that will follow behind us to also build on what it is that we're doing. For me personally, I'm a Rotarian. I'm a member of the Rotary Club of Ligani Plains. Bop, Rotary in the house. All right, so I'm a Rotarian, and I use that platform to offer service of myself and of my profession. Because Rotary is about giving service through your vocation, through your profession. So that's the main medium through which I try to ensure that I am reaching and trying to engage. Also, try to live a life that can be inspiring to some, share my truth, share my story, whether it good, bad, or indifferent, to share the pains and the struggles, because you never know who is looking on, and people would like to put on this front that everything is good, everything is great, and it's crystal, and it's nice. And sharing that struggle sometimes will help persons to know that you can rise and overcome. So that's what I do personally.
How do I help? Well, for me, I try to help those back in my community, back in rural St. Elizabeth. And when I cannot, I sponsor at least 2 children every year through high school, help them get their books, bags, all of that. I think that's the minimum that all of us can do as adults who are successful or doing our best. I think we can help to sponsor those who are less fortunate, and also to provide advice for young people like yourselves. So this, as I said, SRC, big up yourself. This is an amazing, amazing function. I'm glad I was invited. And please put on more events like these so that young people like yourselves can ask us questions, and you can reach out to us via our social media. I think that's one of the best platforms that I use to, put out information to young people as to how to do whatever, and I make myself very approachable. So if you see me on social media, if you see me on the street, you can always come up to me and we'll have a chat.
So our company, so Women's Touch, we have a foundation. Our foundation, for every product that someone buys, every Woman's Touch product, money goes back into the foundation to help with end period poverty. So we do a lot of donations in terms of sanitary napkins. What we also do, we adopted a teen clinic at Jubilee. So for the teen mothers, We partnered with Barita as well to refurbish part of Victoria Jubilee. So that's something that we want to continue to do. So it's real, it's not just social responsibility, but it's the core of who we are as Jamaicans to help others. Unfortunately, we have strayed a little bit from that, but that is the core of our business. So we try and give back as much in terms of the products and so.
All right. So what I do to help to give back is that I would go into different high schools for girls and talk to them about the importance of science and engineering, and to basically help to motivate them into getting into the science field and showing them a different face of it. Also, what I also did, because I grew up in the ghetto as well, so I try to help persons, there are young girls as well, by being a mentor and sponsoring when I can. And just to help persons and young girls to realize that it doesn't matter where you're from, you can leverage what you're good at. So I was good at school, education, so I was able to, my parents could not afford to send me to college, so I had to use my brightness to make sure I get a scholarship to go to university to do bachelor's, and to get a scholarship to go to university again to do a master's degree. So just to help persons to realize in the community where I'm from that it doesn't matter where you are from, you can basically reach for the stars. I know it sounds cliche, but that's what I do to help young girls.
Ladies, before we go, I have to capture this information. I have to do this. Did you learn something new today? Can I see a hand? We're capturing the data if you learned something new. If you were inspired from the panelists, let me see your hands. How many of you have now created something in your mind that you could do in science and technology to make the world better? Let me see your hands. We have achieved our goal at the SRC. Let's give our panelists a round of applause. Ms. Diane Plummer, Dr. Chrisanne Simpson-Harley, Dr. Shara T. Watson, and Kalicia Ebanks. Thank you so much. I'm Empress Golding signing off. I am honored to have been here with you for this discussion, and we'll see you all making big moves in the future in science and technology, and making the world and the globe, the planet, a better place. Thank you.